The jury came back in the Jussie Smollett case today in fairly short time, considering they had 6 counts to consider. They came back with counts 1 through 5 guilty, count 6 not guilty. It looks like count 6 relates to a report made about 3 weeks after the initial event, and counts 1 through 5 all relate to the first 3 interviews given the night of the event when he went to the police. Because we haven't heard from the jurors, we can only assume that they believed the prosecution side of the case with that guilty verdict. And that would go to everything from the over 3,000 hours and man hours that went in from Chicago PD to evidence that he had met with the brothers beforehand and perhaps staged out this event in the nights before, to the check of over $3,500 that was paid, that the prosecution said was paid for staging this attack, and the defense was saying was paid for, nutritional counseling and meal plans. It seems that on at least counts 1 through 5, the jury believed that there was substantial evidence that he staged this attack beyond a reasonable doubt. I think those two things are fairly significant. The check gives you some tangible evidence, and then the rehearsal the day before. But in the prosecutor's statement to the press after court today, he did talk about the way that the noose looked and it being manipulated, and things like that the jury might have found persuasive, because the prosecution, the special prosecutor Dan Webb, was talking about it again after court today. He is facing up to 3 years on these counts. However, given that these are the lowest possible class of felony, meaning they're just above misdemeanors, it's unlikely to me that he will get a large sentence. He might do some time, especially if the court feels that he lied under oath. I think that could definitely come against him at sentencing if the court really feels that his testimony wasn't believable. But I think it's more likely he will do an amount of probation with some jail time, 90 days in that realm, unless the judge was really offended by his testimony and thought that he was lying to the court. And then, of course, it could be more. The defense's response today is that they still maintain their client is innocent. They are 100% going to be appealing this verdict. And you have to remember that not only was there that 3,000 hours of police work, but there is also a lawsuit from the city of Chicago against Jussie Smollett for the cost of the investigation here. So not only is there this criminal proceeding where he's now been found guilty, but that's going to substantially impact the civil proceeding where the city of Chicago is suing for the cost of investigation. But the defense maintains that they are going to absolutely appeal this, and have said that they believe this verdict is contradictory because the jury convicted him of lying on 5 counts, but not on the 6th. So they think this verdict is in contradiction with each other. I think that because you have the counts being separated by different dates, that the jury could have reasonably found that on those first interactions with police, there was misleading. And then that last interaction with police either wasn't misleading or wasn't significantly misleading, and did not find it guilty there. I don't think it's at odds as much as the defense might like it to be for their case on appeal. I don't know what the redemption arc for Jussie Smollett looks like from here. He's still going to have to go through the civil case. The Ozendario brothers are also suing his prior lawyer, Mark Garagos, and the Garagos firm for defamation. There's a lot still going on in this case. And of course, his defense attorneys have said he will be vindicated and he will appeal. But I worry that it might take some time. Well, I don't know if it's a worry. I think it might take some time for this to clear from him. I think the criminal consequences might clear before the career consequences. Anytime you have someone very publicly accused of lying about a crime and then convicted of staging a crime, it can hurt victims everywhere, who might not be believed when they come forward, particularly in hate crimes that can be very difficult to prosecute anyway. And some states are just adding in hate crime laws for all categories of protected persons. So I think it can be very damaging to victims of crime when you have someone so publicly lying about a crime and then having it kind of dragged through the media in such a big way. It's become a very polarizing case in that way.